A beginning is a very delicate time. Know then that it is the first Saturday in the month in the year 2019. In this time, control of the Telling Tales role-playing channel has been passed over to this absolutely massive Dune nerd in order to run a one-shot of Dune Adventures in the Imperium. This one-shot has been constructed to cynically play off the fact that a new film has been released of the same name in theatres. Oh, and I forgot to tell you, we also run several other role-playing games. On Mondays, we have Shadows of Estrin, which is on its third episode now. VODs are hot if you want them over on YouTube. We have decommissioned temporarily our Tuesday nights. Wednesday nights is, as ever, the epic Throne of Thorns campaign on Symbaroum, which I'm playing in. And Thursdays, we have just started episode 1, our Cincinnati Chronicles Vampire the Masquerade. In more general terms, we're telling tales. We do atmospheric online tabletop role-playing games, and we stream them on Twitch and put the VODs up on YouTube for your viewing pleasure. Do feel free to join us on our Discord, where we talk mostly about Kickstarters that perennially seem to be 10,000% funded by the time we hear about them, and all other kinds of TTRPG chat. This is our monthly one-shot, and we kind of hope you enjoy it. I am as mentioned, absolutely insane Dune nerd. While other people chose between Star Wars or Star Trek, perhaps growing up, I was deciding how many times I was going to read through the first 3 books that particular month. Big fan of everything. Huge fan of the movie that just dropped. Massive fan of the previous work of David Lynch and the Jodorowsky's original that it was picked from the bones of. And I'm very, very happy to be walking some good friends through the desiccated dry world of Arrakis. So I think I'll start by introducing our players. Our first player is going to be Steve, if memory serves. I'll go ahead and add him in now. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Chris. How are you doing?
Your day?
I'm good. I am not. I have to say, I'm not a Dune nerd. I've been meaning to read the book for ages, and the only thing I've seen was the David Lynch film. So,
which means you're also the only person who managed to point out my incredibly apt T-shirt.
Yes, I was impressed.
Thank you for the vindication. I think we'll talk about the characters now. So let's talk about your character for a bit. So you're playing San Diego.
I am, yes.
So do you want to tell us a little bit about this gentleman?
Sure, yes. So the simplest thing is probably for me to... I'll read out the little intro of these pre-made characters. So Hassan has trained and worked hard to become a servant for House Atreides. Working for a noble house is an honor that Hassan has strived hard to live up to. And as a servant, he's often overlooked, granting him the opportunity to observe and overhear many things that House Atreides would find useful. And it's also granted him a far better understanding of how to behave amongst the upper classes than most noble-born. So I'm a servant. Duty is a strong part of my life. And I guess really having seen what goes on and wanting to be more useful to House Atreides, I guess I've begun to listen into things and maybe take on non-servant duties in terms of carrying information around and trying to figure things out, find out what goes on behind the scenes. So yes, a sort of aspiring spy, maybe.
Aspiring?
Oh,
welcome. Next on our list is going to be Pierre, who's playing Marcus. So let's bring Pierre on, and I will quickly click us across to his spicy-looking friend. Tell me a little bit more about Marcus Sin, Pierre.
Yeah, so I was a bit of a thrill seeker, adventurer, young buck, looking to join, see some action really. So I joined House Atreides as a soldier, They have a fearsome reputation as being pretty impressive soldiers in House Atreides, and none other than Duncan Idaho himself noticed me and saw that I had some real sharp skills with a blade, and he took me under his wing, as it were, and I'm apprenticing under him. So he has taught me a ton of things to do with swords and their many uses.
Buttering, chopping.
Yeah, I think a notable thing about me is that I'm quite straightforward. My main focus is the truth, and my main drive is the truth, and that is that the truth is always simple. Which, if you know anything at all about Dune, I have a tiny feeling that might be a little naive. So I'm looking forward to playing this. In terms of my Dune nerd creds or whatever, I have not watched the David Lynch movie. I have watched the most recent one, and I've read the first book. So I'm sort of, I don't know, I'm straddling two worlds. And yeah, it's great. It's really good. It's really good. Both. And I'm looking forward to the dusty and arid desert.
Excellent. So let's bring in our third and final player. It's John, who a lot of you will know as he does 14 different jobs on the channel. So why don't you tell us a little about Talia?
So Talia is a former criminal who was taken off the streets and given another chance by House Atreides, and sort of civilized a bit for decent company, but still definitely a scoundrel and a criminal at heart. Still got the old instincts of turning to violence when threatened. And,
excellent.
Yeah.
So maybe just a little word on the system, because it's a very interesting one. Basically, it's like a 3-phase mechanism. The first thing you do is it's a 2d20 roll low system, so you're aiming for lower numbers, and you define your target number by picking your skill, which you can see on the bottom here, and amending and adding to it any drive that is that you can kind of make a good case for using in that situation, and that gives you your target number. And because it's a roll low, higher numbers mean you need to roll under it, which increases your chances of success. There's then a difficulty modifier elsewhere set by various attributes, which sets how many successes you need on your 2d20s. And there is a currency, a group currency called opportunity. I'm going to check. I don't want to get this wrong. Momentum, which you can spend to add dice to that pool. So you can go as high as you want. So that's kind of a rough idea of the system. It's very elegant, and I'm looking forward to getting involved in it. But let's get rid of this for the moment, and let's talk. We mentioned earlier that perhaps Talia and Marcus may have had some casual dealings, both being kind of younger semi-scions of not Talia. Talia and Hassan would have had some dealings of being kind of younger semi-scions of the house, being kind of used for stuff that's maybe a little bit away from the propaganda core, away from kind of what the House Atreides presents itself as, like maybe occasionally getting little bits of information here and there, or getting contacts in the underworld. And of course, Marcus has a fantastic opportunity in front of himself, being able to study under the Dunk, as we call them in Dune circles. But it is obviously early, maybe the third month of the year, 10,191, when the plans and the great shift, the great change becomes widely known in the gossip, and then eventually kind of backed up by official proclamation from the Duke, that the House Atreides has been ordered by the Emperor to take over the planet Arrakis. The 99% of the wealth of the galaxy, trillions of solari per year, come out of this planet and the geratic spice melange, which both extends life and consciousness. The change, such a massive logistical operation, is expected to take most of the year to complete, but the actual handover of sovereignty is already kind of being arbitrated by the Emperor through their Judge of Change. As part of this massive logistical operation, there's kind of 3 phases of all the Atreides getting their stuff together and getting across. The first phase, the scout wing with the aforementioned Duncan, Idaho, went ahead sometime before this time now, and of course the spies from the great Mentat assassin Thuther Hawat have been on the planet for years now, let alone months. Pierre as not so much a confidant of Duncan. In fact, do you know what? Shall we use this as an opportunity? Can you give me a difficulty 0 test, and let's use that against gather information.
First roll.
Yeah.
So
understand.
So this would be understand. So I have 5 on that. And I'm trying to, what am I trying to understand here? Is it
You're just picking up details that you may have heard kind of in passing during training, or connecting the dots, uncovering maybe a little bit of a plot.
I feel like this falls under truth. So because I'm trying to ascertain the truth of the matter. And according to me, the truth is always simple, or at least that's my base desire. So I have 8 in truth, 5 in understand. So I think I'm aiming for under 13.
Yes. 2d20.
On 2d20. So I'm rolling them. I got 8 plus 3 is so that's 8 and 3, which is 2 successes.
Excellent. Well, that means you have accrued 2 momentum for later on. We're probably going to be changing scenes, so that'll be decremented by 1. But so you have got a little bit of an understanding via just words and gossip, and maybe hearing stuff. You also get the opinion that you're not supposed to know this. Duncan Idaho has gone to be with the Fremen. He's been sent for some reason into what are kind of, you've all had a lot of training in the desert, and most of the material on Arrakis comes from the Harkonnen occupation, and the Fremen are treated like absolute rats, the lowest level of the society on the planet. And so Duncan's been sent out to make contact with them for some reason, which is weird because maybe not a political group that would gather so much attention. That said, shortly thereafter, you are all of you, along with some 10 or 15,000 others, put on the second wave. Now, the second kind of selection of frigates, the second Highliner trip to Arrakis, is a lot of the kind of boots on the ground, initial kind of military enforcement and administration. So it is a little strange that you've been selected. You depart on the frigate and intersect with the massive 20-kilometer long cylindrical mass of the Highliner, which sits eerily still in orbit, its hull jet black, entering into it via a porthole and docking, connecting the frigate to the walls of the Highliner. In very curt terms, announcements made over the intercom inform you that any attempts to leave your frigate would result in penalties for the house. And, of course, the guild are not to be crossed, as they have the monopoly on space travel. Not 20 minutes later, the frigate detaches as you have reached your destination. There is no sensation of any kind of movement. There is no light show. There is no weird squid-like plastic being surrounded in orange gas floating in the middle of some weird squares. Everything just happens. For those at home, personal bugbear of mine, the guild navigators don't fold space. The Holtzman engines fold space. The guild navigators run the numbers to make sure you don't hit anything while folding space. Sorry, you're going to get a lot of those today. And I apologize for that. You arrive over the planet Arrakis. Now, these are military frigates. You are military. You're not military personnel, but you're not getting a luxury trip here. So you don't have a window. You have a kind of vid screen relaying the external image, and you get the picture of this. Surprisingly, given that all your training on the matter has taught you is that this place is a hell world, the sight that greets you is just very beautiful. This orange golden globe, kind of with kind of billowing clouds. You can see Coriolis effect storms kind of occasionally breaking up the equatorial lines. Your path is for the higher latitudes, the north of the planet, wherein all of the civilization exists. And may I just show you actually, no, let's save the map for a little later. You touched down in the spaceport, and immediately you were all assigned to squads, and you three are kind of assigned together. There's a couple of odd-looking odds and ends squads that, like, they're not soldiers, they're kind of porters and people who maybe some of you have recognized as maybe being kind of spy people or diplomatic people, or people kind of people who have the look of accountants about them. And some of these people look like, why are we going like a month early to this planet? What's going on here? The answer comes to you quickly as you receive your orders. You get a little vid reel box, and the three of you are kind of offered a small conference room to go and take its contents. So you find yourselves, probably for the first time in a while, maybe the first time ever, depending on your character's relations, in a nice, quiet, reasonably safe room with nothing to do immediately.
I suppose we should put on the box. Hi, I'm Marcus, by the way. I offer my hand.
Hello, I'm Hassan. I'll reach over and shake it and glance over at Talia.
I'll shake hands, and yeah, name's Talia.
I wink. Let's get on with this. Do you have any idea why we've been stationed together?
Not a clue.
Well, to serve our house, I imagine, but in what capacity, I don't know.
I mean, of course, always, but you know, the real reason. Never mind. I'll go over and start manipulating the hollow player.
Yeah. In front of you is unmistakably the face of Futharhawat, the Master of Assassins, the Mentat, largely responsible for this wave of initial operations, and absolutely the Spy Master General of the house. He is an older man with grey hair, a stern face, the red-stained Safu lips of a Mentat, and the glaze in his eyes that those of you who have had any dealings with him will realize that he's talking more as a machine now than as a man, giving you details from a plan which no normal trained human mind could conceive in one go. His voice, oddly mechanical, gives you essentially your orders. Group B, 64931, welcome to Arrakis. Had there been more time, you would have received more training and information on the action. However, as you are aware, time is absolutely limited, and our manpower and skills are also at a limit. Each of you has been selected according to the plan laid out in the general terms. Hassan, your work here, your work has already come to our attention as someone who will be useful to us in the future, and we will need your guile and diplomacy in this matter. Talia, similarly, the task at hand will require your diplomacy and also perhaps your connections. and Marcus, these two will both need protection, and given that your own master, is out of sorts at the moment on a classified errand, you will be serving as assistants here as well. None of you have been chosen for only one reason, please be aware. His face dips away, and up comes a map of the northern latitudes of Arrakis, focusing on, of course, the North Pole. Comes up. The green dot represents Arrakeen, which is the forward HQ of the Atreides occupation movement. Your group will be one of several sent out to engage with several smuggler activities that have been seen. These activities have intensified due to the perceived anarchy during the change. You will no doubt have connected the dots as to why we are sending a group of diplomats and people of skill in guile and not a soldier unit. I will let you infer from that, if you will, what your primary outcome in meeting these smugglers are. The Duke has said that the first step in avoiding a trap is knowing of its existence. And I also would add to that any friend is better than any enemy. Thopter is prepared for you on the landing pad. Please see to these smugglers, and once again, dispense with them in such a way that leaves us with more friends than enemies. Thuther out. Master of Assassins, 10,000 momentum on. The picture drips off. The hollow goes dark and returns to its inert state.
So, seems pretty clear. We're walking into a trap with these smugglers, and we have to
make friends.
Make friends. Yeah. I suppose I should. I don't have to tell you. Don't get out of my sight. I can't protect you if you are not within reach.
Sure.
If you need to sneak off to some secret meeting, tell me beforehand, and I will clear the room.
Understood.
Now that things have quieted down a bit, you notice kind of 3 large backpacks kind of in the corner.
I'll sift through them.
So basically, what you have is if you were a Dune native, you would know this as a Frem kit, but as a Atreides person, you are aware of it as kind of desert supplies, including a full still suit with the Atreides crest, clearly manufactured by the house, and several other kind of desert survival tools. Nothing out of the ordinary, but definitely something you've been trained in the use of as part of kind of the training regimen that you would have had running up to this general trip, not just your specific mission.
One thing that I was wondering about is, do I know if the smugglers have any relation to the mercenary community on Arrakis? Because apparently I have one of my assets that I have is a friend among the mercenary community on Arrakis. So I was wondering if I would have any knowledge about this smuggling community or their interactions ahead of time.
I don't even think that's worth a roll. I think it's certainly, there's a Venn diagram with a pretty thick overlap that mercenaries are required to guard smugglers on occasions. Smugglers are mostly the reason why there are mercenaries in Arrakis in the first place.
Sure, the ones with the money to pay the random mercenaries. Okay, so maybe that's an in. I'll probably be keeping that to myself. I don't know if I can trust these two.
I also have... So I have 2 assets that may be relevant. I have a contact who leads a gang of criminal thugs and a friend within the Arrakeen underworld, because I know all kinds of people. Could I Could I do a roll to try and get some feelers about what I guess the names and general information about the smugglers in the area that we're going to?
Yeah, I think it's worthwhile requesting that role. Let's actually get rid of the map now because I think we know where we're going. And on that note, let me also quickly do some administrative work here so I cannot have to look sideways at the camera all the time. That's much better. It's certainly a role worth doing. I'm going to set a difficulty 2 here because this is going to be a very tangential knowledge. Because it's not just, there's a lot of spice smugglers on Dune. It's the most the most profitable substance in the universe.
Did we immediately lose? By the way, have we just shifted scene, or do we still have that too that we earned right at the beginning? Because this might be.
I'm okay with you keeping that.
Okay.
Because this scene is still intro.
Sure. Do you want to use some momentum? Let's do it.
So what skill would you put that as, Chris?
So I think you select the skill, as someone pointed out. But if you're asking my,
it's the other way around. So
okay.
Yeah, GM selects skill and the player selects drive, I think.
Yeah. So in that case, I think this is probably going to be. Are you just trying to remember if you have these contacts, or do you want to put word out?
I was going to put word out.
So you're definitely going to be trying a communicate role.
Okay. I think the reason I'm doing this, I mean, truth does make sense because I'm trying to acquire information.
I'm
Yeah.
okay with you using that, yeah.
Trying to do a truth. Trying to think, does my statement apply? Probably not.
What is your statement?
I make my own truth.
Ah.
Well, I suppose no, I don't think so, because like in the philosophical sense, you're definitely trying to uncover something rather than generate something.
Yeah.
You are cutting your own path, which would be my counterpoint, but
Cutting my own path.
yeah, you're creating your own truth, and that this is not a truth that's been laid out for you. This is something
That's
you
true.
are. This is a new path through the sand.
I guess it sort of also depends on whether you're trying to like butter them up initially.
I mean, I might be able to assist with this role in terms of if we work together, drafting appropriate, verbiage to send out to these people. I have a particular talent in terms of communication, which might be able to actually improve your role.
Are you going to state the facts that you might have this asset to the other members of the team?
Well,
sorry,
yes. I mean,
that's more for John, I suppose.
Yes, true.
That's a point. I'll mention, I've got a friend, might be in the area, might know people in the area.
I think
I'll try and get in touch.
I think I sort of look between Hassan and Talia, and I get the impression that Talia is saying that for my benefit, because they have like a kind of pre-existing thing, and I'm like,
Sure. So, yes, in terms of how this particular assistance works, I guess I'd be also using the communicate skill and truth. But in terms of mechanics, if I roll 1d20, if that's under that particular target score, then you gain the benefit of any of that success, I guess.
If I already have one success.
Yes. But my talent in terms of an advisor means that I guess if that works for me, then the ally that I'm assisting can re-roll a single d20 as part of their roll.
Nice.
Ooh.
Shiny.
So yes, I'm
That's
kind of
very cool.
by helping you with your communications, your language or whatever.
Right,
that's
okay,
essentially how
I'm
that.
already aware that I'm losing control of the situation, so I'm going to spend my first threat here to up the difficulty for
Fair
completely arbitrary reasons to make you work for this completely given success if you use your dice pool of 20 that you have access to at the minute.
Yeah, that makes sense. Right, so 2d20. I'm going to spend momentum for an extra 1,
Very nice.
and then Steve is going to give me the extra. Well, do the.
So I've
the
made my
assistance.
roll. Yeah, so I've made my assistance roll. I got 5, which was under my target of 10. So I can assist you.
And
that
I
means
think this does apply to my statement because I'm also going to be trying to butter them up and getting them to wheel out a welcome wagon.
So
So
that means you get an automatic 1.
If you go,
if I
Or what,
I
any
think-
success already counts as an automatic 1, doesn't it?
yeah, I think that's the idea.
Yeah.
So it's like
The first success.
anything that goes below, or anything that goes below. What is it? Your
anything
drive.
any success equal or less than skill counts as a no. That's
less than skill.
That's focus.
It's not a focus.
Yeah,
it's
this is a
statement.
drive, not a focus. Yeah.
Yeah.
Statements are
Right,
less. Yeah.
I think we're going to do it. It's going to easy peasy.
So at a target of 12, I only get 1 success.
You can, and my skill means you can re-roll 1d20.
I will do that.
I believe in you.
That is an extra success. So
Alas.
that's 2 from me and 1 from Hassan.
Was it? Do you add your successes to the pool then? Is that the assistance mechanism?
On assistance, I believe.
Yes.
So, yes.
If I have any successes, then the assistant's successes of success is added to the pool of successes.
I'm sure this will get easier as we go on.
Okay. So you get between the pair of you that you decide that maybe an actual communication, an actual kind of live communication might be better because time is sort of the essence. And you work out the parameters of how that communication would work to get the best interaction. Talia, you already have a kind of a good way to get in contact with this person, and they're amenable to your approaches. And do you want? Shall we role play it?
Sure.
The person's name is Gira, and they're basically a scoundrel like yourself, but kind of maybe more of the independent trader. Generally, their focus is getting stuff off world and bringing stuff on world, so it's not a perfect link, a perfect overlap, but obviously they'll have their own connections, and you can open a connection with them. I'll go, Talia.
Okay.
They've pulled you back from that wet wonderland.
Hi. I'm back here, stuck on Arrakis.
Oof. What can I do for you?
I'm looking to make a connection. So I hear this spice smuggling's a big deal. I wonder if you.
Of course. It's almost the only deal here, except for people trying to escape.
Yeah, that never works out. I was wondering if you knew of anyone I could get in contact with in the general area that we have been sent to.
The northeast. It's not there's no big operations out there. I mean, that's not any of Churok's lads.
Any small operations?
Oh, I mean, there's small operations anyway. Hand gatherers or foot gatherers. Let me see. Look, I'm not going to know the person. What I will give you is a word that you can use with these people to let them know that you're working within the purview of an honest trader, shall we say.
I'll take that.
The word is typhoon.
Typhoon. All right. I'll be throwing that one around left, right, and center.
Don't throw it around left, right, and centre. Throw it to the centre only. If it leaks out and if we start hearing more of your people using it, it'll get changed within a day. You know
Keep it
what
to
it's
myself
like.
then. Thanks, Gira. I owe you a drink.
You do.
Nice.
Nice. So you now have an asset. I think that counts as an asset.
The secret word.
A secret word to kind of give you some credence when speaking to smugglers.
But only the right person.
I don't have a name, but I've got an in.
Right. Well, I guess we need to find the right person to say that to talk to.
I'm not going to find them in here.
All right. Let's get
Still suits on.
still suits on. All right, I suit up, and
Yep. The suits are the Atreides logo is something that's been hastily stitched on. These are kind of mass market city suits. They're fine. They'll do the job. They're what basically everyone wears if they're doing any kind of extended work, at least inside the shield wall, and certainly if you're working on a harvester factory outside the shield wall as well.
Just out of interest, how easy would it be to hide or cover or remove any Atreides style
I was going to ask
identifying marks?
says the loyal servant.
Yeah, it's not difficult. To a trained eye, they'll notice that there was something
Sure.
there and it's now gone. But getting the actual patch off, not difficult.
Okay. Just in case, because we don't necessarily want everyone to know our business.
So once
Sure.
you're suited up, I will remind you that you've got your own thropter waiting on.
Very nice. Let's go. Get into the Thopter and scout out the area. See if we can see any of these hand gatherers or foot gatherers that they mentioned.
So you're on the suborbital part of the spaceport. It's much busier for a start because there's a lot of stuff kind of that's being destaged from the frigates. That's going to be an operation that takes hours, if not days. These things carry a lot of cargo, let alone their contingents. Your Thopter, maybe to your disappointment, Hassan, is clearly an Atreides Thopter. It's not rigged for stealth. It's not an unmarked system, and it would be a job to conceal it as such. It's a small Thopter, but it is definitely going to serve you well. It seems to be, and it's come from Caladan, but it's already been rigged with all of the kind of dust filters required to make it to operate normally on Dune. All three of you, let me know like which ones of you think like you'd be capable of piloting a Thopter and which ones would kind of abstain.
I feel like I would. I feel like I have, in general, quite a good skill at movement, and that's not just the physical movement of the, sneaking around. That's also being able to fly military vehicles, which I imagine that this counts as. Although I don't think it has any weapons on it, I would assume.
It does. It's got a little kind of missile pod. It's Atreides weaponry is generally more crowd control focused, and these missile pods are kind of concussion missiles, so they're kind of like kind of flashbangy rather than kind of destroy a tank or pierce any armor bangy.
But I think that some of my experience in the military might have given me an opportunity to learn.
Yeah, certainly. And Caladan, I would point out that like the Atreides ruled by air power to the greatest extent, so all of you would have had the opportunity to fly a Thopter with or without the military aspect of it coming in. But if no one's, I think Pierre, if no one is the pilot seat is open right now. If you want to
I think I'll defer to Marcus. Yes, I think Hassan might well have flown these, but wouldn't necessarily feel comfortable.
All right,
doing
I'll
so.
pilot it. You guys keep an eye out for well, any signs of activity where we might not expect activity, I guess, since that will presumably give away at least where these smugglers may be found.
The location on your little map it's fairly accurate. Like, it's going to be like about a 5-kilometer zone, but it's quite easy to see people in the desert. Anyway, the Thropter picks up and begins to gain altitude, kind of curving away from the spaceport area. Looking out the window, you see Arrakis, vibrant town, kind of baking in the heat haze of what's pushing towards the early evening at this stage. You also notice above the spaceport something you failed to catch on the vid screens on the way down. In massive letters is the phrase, "Oh, you who witness what we do here, remember us in your prayers." An ominous warning for anyone trying to, for anyone lucky enough to be allowed to depart this planet. You have to gain significantly more altitude, nearly 3,000 meters, before you can clear the massive geological barrier wall, the shield wall, between the kind of North Pole regions and the open desert, or at least the start of the open desert. The shield wall is very sheer, but with plenty, like, it's possible to climb it. It's not like a difficult thing to do, but it is remarkably sheer given its height. And again, pet peeve in the movies, the shield wall is kind of a man-made device around Arrakis. That is absolutely not the case. Anyway, you're passing over the open desert now. So we're going to get a pilot roll. Can you give me a difficulty 0 move test there, Pierre? And we will reset, or we will decrement or reset, whichever way around, the momentum pool at this point, because we are now in a new scene.
Okay, so I'm going to be moving, and I guess that the thing driving me forward is, I would guess either truth or duty.
I think duty feels right for this, but
yeah. I'm not like specifically seeking anything out, so that is 6 plus 7, which is 13 again. So I'm just going to roll. I got 9 and 5, so that's 2 successes. So I get 2 momentum.
Do. The piloting is absolutely great. I'd say the piloting is very good for someone who probably hasn't had all that much military training. You find yourself adapting well to the strange currents and eddies, which are very unused to air this hot or moving this fast at this range of pressures as in Caladan. So it takes a bit of getting used to, but once it's actually maybe a little bit more engaging to fly here than in Caladan, because there's more, the air is lumpier. There are more eddies and currents in it because of the kind of shock heating and cooling in shadow and billowing of the various atmospheric conditions. So it takes about 30 odd minutes to cross the area. You're heading kind of west, the shield wall kind of rolling along to your right. And I mean, it's a whole lot of nothing. There's very little out here except the shield wall. And occasionally in the distance, back where you come from in the east, you can see the distinctive kind of vertical structure of a carryall moving a harvester away or bringing one back, but they gradually fall over the horizon as you put more kilometers between you and your distance. And you kind of enter into the area of operations, as it were, marked out on the map. And you can now, if you wish, start to make some difficulty 2 discipline tests. And anyone kind of spotting or driving and spotting can have a go at this.
Okay. I will try to do that. I think I will also spend one of our momentum.
Oof, greedy.
Yes. Well, if you want to spend it, just speak up before. So yeah, I'm rolling 2 dice, and I think I'm going to use truth with this thing. The truth is always simple, and the focus is precision. So I don't know if this is really precision, to be honest. In terms of,
I don't feel like it is spotting stuff.
Nah.
Precision is a doing word.
Yeah, precision would be more like getting the thing in the actual precise spot or whatever. Okay, so I have a 9 and a 15, so that's 1 success plus the 1, so that's I hit the difficulty, but only just.
Perfect. Can I get the roll from anyone else? I want to know if we have any natural great successes here as well.
Sure. I was planning on doing it as an assist because I'm not actually predicting to succeed, but I will roll for it anyway. Because I was going to use duty because it feels the most, and I'm not incredibly dutiful, so I think I'm just boredly staring out the window. But my target is 9.
I believe in you.
And I got 2 successes.
Great.
If I'm allowed to roll, then
Yeah, please
I would
do.
have been using discipline and duty as well. And I got 1 success on 2 dice.
But no one's given me a sweet, sweet one except for the artificial one that Pierre generated.
Yeah.
Okay. You do spot eventually. All of you kind of eventually catch on to it. There is a kind of several hundred meters away from where the rock gives way to the sand of the shield wall. There is a small outcropping, a very small outcropping. Your keen eyes spot what appears to be kind of tents clinging to this rock outcropping. On the ground in front of it, there appears to be kind of material, some limited equipment, some kind of there is no harvester factory here. There are a couple of carts and a couple of kind of suspenser carts for moving stuff across the desert, but there is no there are not suspenser carts, actually. That would be suicide. There are little drivey carts. Apologies, I failed all of you.
I was about to just chastise you live on stream, but anyway. Indicates, like, I guess I sort of gesture down there. Do we want to land? Do we want to? They'll know we're Atreides, but I think that's inevitable.
I mean, we don't want to land and scare them off.
Well, I don't know. We've got to make our shot, but I'll defer to you. You guys are far more experienced with this kind of diplomacy than I am. What's the best way to make a good impression?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's tricky. Let's make a bad impression quickly.
Let's not. I think the best way to make a good impression is to not look like we're going to try and fight or arrest them.
I put my blade away.
If we were Harkonnen, we'd do that by shooting them from the air. So
maybe if we land some distance off and then approach on foot for the last way of it, we can make it apparent that we're not about to shoot any of them, or we're not here to crack down. I think 3 people can't be too threatening to a group of many.
Yes,
All
and
right.
also not landing, not aiming directly for them might afford. Well, I guess they're the only people out there. They are a little hidden, I guess. We perhaps don't want to draw wide attention to their location. So any way we can obfuscate that might be beneficial.
Of course, I don't want to land too far away because we might need to leave here in a hurry. Shall we try?
Well, we're here for a reason.
Okay. I slowly try and land, but some distance away.
A polite distance.
I would like to get some rolls at this stage. May I first off have a move roll from you, Pierre, for piloting? I'm not going to tell you the difficulty of this one.
Okay. I guess I think I am going to do this with justice, because I believe that we are serving a just cause in bringing these smugglers.
Do you know what? I'm going to change my mind and change the prescribed path of the story a little bit. I would like to get a difficulty 3 understand test from anyone who thinks they were paying attention during class, during your Arrakis training.
I was not.
Sorry, what was this? Difficulty 3?
Difficulty 3 understand.
And we have a point of momentum that can be spent just hanging there.
Well, I'll have certainly been paying attention.
You're a diligent fellow.
Well, yes. And therefore my drive would be duty, I think, in that case. Difficulty 3, that means I need 3 successes, which means... And using a momentum to get 1 automatic... No, momentum is buying dice.
Yeah, momentum is buying dice, yeah.
Yeah, you can use a determination to get an automatic.
I also recall we just made a load of rolls before which had excess successes, which would normally go into the momentum pool, but I only want to really flush one of those rolls worth of extra successes, so I think we'll add 2 more momentum points.
I think we didn't. I might be wrong, but I think we just hit the difficulty. We didn't exceed it.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah, all 3 of us got 2.
So, yeah.
You're correct. Apologies.
There's also the thing of if the focus matches, I don't know what your focus is, but if it matches, then you can get like the double successes on any roll under your thing.
For understand, my focus is etiquette, so I don't think that would be applicable in this.
You can also give Chris threat for extra dice at the same rate that you would spend momentum.
This is true.
Yeah, let's do it.
So
It's important.
Okay, so we have one. How many? We have a 1 momentum point going currently, do we, or more?
Yep.
Yeah, we have 1 momentum, and Chris is at 5 threat. But so far, it is hanging like a sword of Damocles over all of our heads, and he has not used it very much.
Yeah,
so,
I'm sure he won't either.
Why would a GM ever increase danger?
Indeed.
Long-term viewers will realize that I completely forgot to spend any of my currency the last time I had a system with a GM.
It's a good bet. It's a good bet.
It's to the point where we kept forgetting to track your currency last time you had this kind of system.
Right, okay. Here we go then. Slowly getting used to these rolls. So 2 d20s base free, 1 d20 for spending 1 point of momentum, and I'm going to buy another d20 with 2 threat because it's my second d20 I'm buying.
Nice.
To give me 4 d20s all told to roll under understand plus duty, which is going to be 13.
Okay, so that seems doable.
Would you say that?
Would Chris accept an assistance in this?
Are you a attention-paying kind of person? Answer me honestly.
I mean, if it involves me not...
Actually, you've been here before, haven't you?
Apparently, yes, I think.
Yeah, no, absolutely. No, that's a very fair assistant.
I think me being here before is just something that we sort of spontaneously role-played. But it's also, if it has something to do with me not dying, I have a focus of danger sense in understand.
Okay. Fair enough, yeah.
It's in the story now, and therefore is canon.
That's fine. As long as it's not Laz canon, we'll be fine.
That is a fail for me.
A fail. Okay, but not a 20.
Not a 20.
Okay,
not a bad.
Let's give you a complication though. I'll have to think on that.
A fail doesn't. If it was a complication. Sorry, if it was a 20, it would give you a complication.
Oh,
if
sorry.
It was straight fail.
Critical fails are complications.
But
you still have a massive amount of dice.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
An amount of other way around. Never mind.
I've rolled 4 dice. My target was 13, and I got 7, 2 11s, and a 13. So 4 successes. That's 4
all
successes, right?
Yeah.
Okay, and that was
On
difficulty
what I
3.
recall was a difficulty
3
difficulty 3. So you get
3,
one.
yeah.
You get your point of
momentum back.
Momentum back.
Momentum always worth.
It reminds you are reminded from your class about the existence and prevalence of worms and their desire and drive to attach any rhythmic sounds on the desert, specifically those of a landing or footsteps.
Is there? Yeah.
Which would also explain why all of the tents are on a rock and not on the much easier to fasten a tent to sand.
Can we land on? Is there a stable place on top of the rock that we can land on and then climb down? Or
the rock is fairly chock-a-block with tents and objects designed to disguise the tents, so kind of awnings and bits and pieces. So you're probably going to need to land on the sand.
Okay, in which case perhaps we should just land.
So, are you pointing out the fact that there are maybe? Yes. There's maybe a risk to this.
There is definitely. I mean, as a player, I was considering the risk. I didn't know how much my character would know, but yes, I am now thinking of worms and the general.
Okay, perhaps we will land slightly closer to the rock than we were initially planning. Thank you, Hassan. That is useful to know. And I'll direct us a little bit closer to the rocks as opposed to the initial plan of way out in the sand.
Try to land softly.
Yeah. So we go back to your trying to land with a little bit of grace and maybe without so much rhythm. And I am going to tell you that the difficulty for this is quite high, but not unachievable.
Okay. Well, I think what is this? What will this be? This isn't really. I think either duty or justice are my things. I think I'll go for justice. My statement is that justice is a keen blade. We have the right on our side, and therefore things can't go wrong.
And as Duncan Idaho has taught you, a keen blade is also a subtle one.
Yes. So I'll try and land. So I'm going to use that last point of momentum to increase the number of dice to 3. I'm rolling them. Wow. So many, only one success. I got 14, 16, and 17 on my three dice, and with a target of 14. So, alas, I fail.
Well, you're saying this adventure could be really short.
I'm sure there will be no long-term consequences from that particular turn of events.
Cool.
Yes, you set down. The smugglers seem to be. When they first spotted the Thropter, there was some worry, which you kind of noticed. There was kind of some movement. That worry became frantic as the Thropter was clearly approaching their base, and now it seems to have died down a little bit, perhaps because you haven't opened fire. As you put down quite close to the base. There's already kind of what might be a cross between a defense group and a delegation seems to already be kind of forming up and moving towards your location.
Well, that was as smooth a landing as we're going to get. I think I'll leave it to you guys. Take it from here. They look very friendly, but yeah. Don't stand within arm's reach, at least until we know if they're friendly.
They are all of them armed. There are a selection of them with blades, some of which you have not seen the like of before, but you've definitely seen the type of before. And a couple of them have little Maula stunner pistols. There's a grand total of 6 of them kind of there.
Sure.
Okay.
Do you two have shields, by the way?
No.
Not unless we can create them as assets later on, but no.
Okay. Well, maybe I'll stand slightly in front of where these two are.
I'm going to double check that my knife is firmly but discreetly secured.
So you're approaching the
The
delegation.
delegation.
Yeah, the six men are armed and regarding you with some suspicion.
Yeah, as I approach, I'll be sort of arms down but palms outward, so they can see I'm not carrying any.
A very traditional kind of sign of the one of them, a kind of definitely a person who's seen a lot of manual labor, kind of shocked, some early shocks of grey hair in their features, which you can see even through their stillsuit mask, which covers their face. Their eyes, the piercing blue of the ibid, spice addiction, very clear, and something you have not seen on before, really, from anyone. Except maybe perhaps some rabble around town, if you caught any of their eyes. The person kind of steps up and means to talk and goes, "It is an unusual day indeed. Atreides Offworlder. Normally visits from the ruling house would be met with gunship fire. How can we be of assistance?"
Well, I don't know if you've heard, but Arrakis is under new management, and we're here to make friends.
We have seen the comprehensive propaganda leaflets your famous group have put out, but this is an interesting occurrence. What would the nature of a discussion between us be? What do you wish to purchase from our group? My manners. My name is Guerra.
Talia, this is Hassan, and this is Marcus.
I nod.
For now, I'm going to double check this with Chris. Our main thing is just make friends, right? Like,
Yeah, it's not specifically clear what you were to do. It was very specifically clear that what you weren't to do was anything the Harkonnens would normally do.
okay.
And the objective kind of rings in your head from Thuther Howard's closing statement: any friend is better than any enemy.
Yeah. So that's why my hand is currently on the hilt of my weapon, but not actually gripping it.
As I say, we're just here to talk.
Okay, it's to be talk then. You made quite a racket landing.
Sorry about that.
Concerned it may have called a worm. But let us. On that note, I cannot offer you a coffee service or any of the local delicacies here. We have few enough for ourselves. So let us talk.
I'm trying to think of an appropriate time to drop the. I'm just going to say it. I've heard word from a friend that talk of typhoons are popular.
Oh my goodness! No, that's
Casually
fine.
slipped in there.
Very casually slipped in.
I'm not trying. Come on, these two already know it, and he should already know it anyway.
Yeah. Can someone just give me a difficulty 0 kind of understand roll just briefly, just to catch the reactions here? Guerra kind of responds and goes, "There's a lot of weather on Arrakis. Typhoons are much wetter than what we normally get." But come, what is the objective of the house in this area? I assume there's been a complaint of our harvesting. Given we take a kilogram of spice per day when a harvester can take 1,000.
I'm trying to think how to phrase this.
I mean,
Has anyone got the outcome of that roll for me as well? I'll give you a little bit more flavour.
This is an understand roll, correct?
Yeah.
I'm happy.
Probably
looking
best
at
for
if-
you, Hassan, actually, because it's reading people.
yeah, I'm crap at understanding people, or at least I understand them
Yeah.
via my sword.
No, then
You
I don't
learn
know
about
whether.
a person through the conflict with them, not about through what they say or how they act.
It's about the wet feeling you get when you stab them.
Wow.
Oh my god, I just realised.
Smooth.
Pretend I didn't say that.
So I guess this will be understanding and truth.
Truth would be very good for this one,
yeah.
I think.
It's not my best score by any stretch, but it feels the best one to go for. We have no momentum currently, do we?
No, it's a 0.
Oh, it's a 0. Yes, okay,
So
fine, of course.
It's a way of generating momentum.
Well, I understand is 6, truth is 4, so that's 10. So I get 1 success. I rolled an 8 and 11. 1 success.
Great.
One
You get
momentum.
a point of momentum back for the pool then, but you also get the distinct impression that the smuggler was a little bit taken aback when this very subtle inference was made by Italia, and seems to. It's hard to tell if he's hardened up or softened. He definitely seems like he's been taken off balance by hearing.
Yeah.
It definitely was more than just a word.
Sure.
Okay. The Atreides would like to an extent, bring you on board. You're out here, there's no harvesters in sight. The way I see it, at least, you're not taking anything that is being immediately contested. And maybe a little bit of legitimacy for yourself and a little bit of support for the Atreides could help everyone out.
So, sounds like we have a fork in the road then. You want to buy some of our stock, maybe. Or perhaps you want to offer us some kind of salary, which would be, as I understand it, questionably legal if the Imperium found out. Or you want us to buy us perhaps as friends, which words have a lot of weight. Words have a lot of weight around here. And the lack of missiles also has a lot of weight. I don't believe there should be any harshness between us if we're permitted to continue our operations. How we can expand our operations might be better suited for another meeting. I will tell you this. The Harkonnens have left you a fine parting gift. I don't think there is a single carryall running in the air for the last week that I have seen that my grandfather would not have recognized. And of the 6,000, I believe, Harkonnen spice harvesters, none now remain. You are left with the legacy of centuries of neglect on the previous Ordos harvester factories. So, I don't fancy, and if I may be frank, I don't think many in our community fancy that this house will long sit in tenure. So excuse me if we don't throw our lot in with yours. But if you manage to survive, we will certainly look to formalizing our agreements.
And if we don't survive, who do you think is going to take our place?
The Harkonnens will be back.
And you want that?
It's what we live with my whole life, my father's life, my grandfather's life. We can survive under that. Whatever's happening here is a wheel within a wheel. Whatever the fate of the Atreides is, you're not here to earn the wealth of the universe. I don't know much about the Landsraad, but I know that you don't put a popular man in a position of great risk because you like him. Unfortunately, at this point, there is a phenomenal explosion behind you. You whip round and see that your Thropter has basically been cut in two by a lasgun coming from a ship or a Thopter behind it. Immediately clear for any of you who've spent any time in an Atreides history class that this is a Harkonnen kind of carrier Thropter. It's beefier than the one you landed in. And it seems to be making a final approach. It's also kind of let off some small incendiary missiles flying towards the tent encampment, which are en route. And on that note, I think we'll take our first break of the session.
Okay.
Yikes.
Brilliant.
Harkonnens.
Yeah, so I hope you enjoyed that opening salvo, quite literally. Obviously, I have an absolute blast describing this world to anyone and pointing out all its little bits that are wrong. I hope everyone enjoyed my various references to the book, the later books, actually. Could talk for hours about all of those. But in the meanwhile, any initial thoughts about how we're doing so far?
Well, we're stranded in the desert, and our only way out has just been destroyed. So great.
Yeah.
That's a Tuesday on Arrakis.
Yeah, we didn't take the packs out of the Ornithopter, did we? So we've got our still suits.
I think we were wearing, yeah.
You're wearing your still suits, yeah.
Mm.
There's, it's good. It takes a little bit of time to get used to the sort of mechanic and what you can spend, but yeah, it's very cool.
It's flowing pretty well, I think. I think maybe we should we might need to add some more of the systems, but obviously, well, there's probably not going to be not combat after this break. But in the meantime, we're going to take 10 minutes and have a quick bio, and when we come back, certainly everything will be absolutely fine. So I will see you then.
Bye-bye.